Hey there friends, Opus here. In this video we're going to see me paint my Gambit figure for my Marvel Crisis Protocol collection. I cannot stop myself from buying these models. It's kind of ridiculous, but they're just a lot of fun to work on. In this video I'm going to kind of focus on painting his cloak in a leather style. I haven't really done that too much before, and every time I paint a new model I try to do something a little different, so I'm always learning. But first I just want to say thanks for all the support on my first video. It's been amazing. Got some comments, some likes, a few subscribers, lots of views. It's just been awesome. I really appreciate it. So thanks, and maybe leave some comments and see where you want me to take this next. So here I am starting with a Zenithal Prime, and let's see where that takes us. So I start off with this petroleum gray by Scale Color. This is essentially going to be my darkest color on the model. I didn't want to go too close to black because I just wanted to keep a bit of interest visually when looking at it. It's kind of got this like purplish tone to it, so I thought it was a really nice color to use for the darker bits of clothing on the model. Yes, I used brown leather on his leather cloak. It's in the name. Can you blame me? So I didn't really put any of the brown directly on the underside of the cloak because I already had the shadow there. So I kind of painted the ridge. But I did let some of the paint kind of overflow onto the underside, just past the ridge. And then I came in with a wet brush and just kind of flicked the wet paint out to kind of blend it into the black there. Oh my god, I used black leather. People are going to judge me for that, but yep, Scale Color makes it that easy. I kind of watered it down a bit so I could just brush it nicely into the recesses of the cloak while having it a little transparent. I didn't really blend in the edges of the shadow too much. I did a little bit of work there, but I wasn't worried about it being perfect because afterwards I came in and did a lot of stippling work with all the other colors, so that just kind of helps blend in those edges. But yeah, I did take a wet brush to the wet paint and just kind of flick those edges out as you see I'm doing here. But yeah, the stippling really helped kind of bring that in. Hey baby, it's walnut! Yep, I used walnut for my first highlight. I have an old brush that I kind of clipped the tips off of, as you can see here. It's got really short, stiff tips, and I use that to stipple. When I put the paint on the brush, I take it to a dry palette and just tap the paint off like that until it's not too heavy, so it's not blotching on too much. So with stippling, you just kind of take that paintbrush and you just kind of poke it onto the model repeatedly over and over to get this erratic texturing, as you can see I'm doing here. The more you do it, the more texture you're going to get, but if you do it too much, then it kind of lays over too much paint and you might start to lose the texture. So yeah, this is my first color that I'm going in with here, and as you see there will be some more to kind of blend in this texture later. So here I am coming in with the brown leather again. I'm going to stipple that over the walnut and around the edges of the shadow where I hit with the walnut as well to help blend in that highlight and the texture, as well as to blend those edges of the shadow. It just kind of helps sell the effect. Walnut is back on the table. So I came back in with the walnut just to do some thin lines of wear. So more where there's like some heavy gouged lines in the cloak. So yeah, it's just for some more specific detail. I did some little dots with it as well, just to kind of amp up the wear on the cloak, and we'll blend those back in later. So here I come in with some Thar brown, and I'm mixing that with the brown leather in order to make a brighter highlight. So you can see I'm mixing that together here, and I'm going to use that in quick succession to make these erratic wear lines on the worn edges of the cloak, and I add more Thar brown for a further highlight on top of that. Additionally, I also went in with that color and added a couple more lines of wear that kind of represent the most worn parts of the cloak. So you can see I'm doing that here, adding more color, brightening it up a bit, just to get additional levels of highlight. So the last big step here, I took the brown leather and watered it down a fair bit, and I glazed that over almost all of the color on the cloak except for the deepest parts of the shadow to leave that really dark. And that just kind of brought all the colors in line with each other, allowing them to just kind of feel unified. So here I come in with Abyssal Blue, and I use that on the outermost edges of the pants, chest, and the head coverings, gloves, just leaving the petroleum gray, the darkest color, in the recesses. And you'll see after this I come in and I take some Mojave, whatever the hell you want to call it, Mojave white, and I progressively add that to the Abyssal Blue in order to get increasing levels of highlight there. So yeah, you can see I'm bringing that in here. Broken Shadow. This is one of my favorite colors. It just makes a really nice shadow color on pretty much any model. So I come in with that and I use it on his chest armor plate, just as a nice base color. And you'll see that I'm going to add some Mojave white, and I'll do that progressively again to build up some highlights on that color. Now after I do that, you'll see that I then come in and I use this sunset purple color because the chest plate wasn't quite the tone I wanted it to be, the tone of purple. So I use a glaze of sunset purple, just watered down sunset purple, and I just put that all over the chest, and it really brought the intensity of the color up, especially over where the brightest highlights are, and it just got it like almost right to where I wanted it. So that's coming up here in a second. Here it is. So here I'm taking some black metal, finds a really nice dark metal color, and I use thrash metal as a highlight for that. And I'm just going and applying it on his staff and the trim around his armor. So the black metal makes a really nice deep like metal base color, and thrash metal is just this really nice bright highlight. I didn't do anything too crazy with this. It's just the one color on top of the other, but I think it turned out pretty nice. So for his hair, I wanted to use a brown that was kind of different from the cloak, stood out a little more, so I chose Dubai brown. It's a little more yellowish, a little bit reddish, so I figured that'd make a nice base color. And then again, I used Mojave white, mixing that into the base to get highlights. I tend to use the same color for mixing my highlights throughout the whole model, just to kind of unify everything, bring it all together. So yeah, I used the Dubai brown, add in some Mojave white for the highlights. And then at the end, I came in with some Reichland Flesh Shade. You can see that here. And I just put that over top to add a little bit more red and some definition to the hair. Yeah, I used basic flesh, Morty. What do you want from me? Yeah, I know, Morty. I use light skin as a highlight. I don't know why I'm doing this voice. It's just light skin. Fuchsia. I had never used this paint before. It was pretty nice. I liked it. So I used this fuchsia paint on his magical effect where his cards are being thrown. I just used that as the base color. Turned out really well, I think. And I also came in with this deep red paint, and I put that in the recesses, just to kind of give it a little bit of definition. And as you see here in a moment, I used an acid pink fluor paint to brighten up the color and to give it a glow effect. So I've only recently kind of figured out how these fluor paints work. You don't really paint with them directly. They're more used to kind of bring out the color in the original base that you're working with. It really makes them pop. So yeah, I thought it turned out pretty nice. Yep, so just some white paint on the cards. Whatever your favorite white is, use that just to thin it down because white tends to suck to paint with. I then came in with this blood red paint and also a black to do the card details, which I absolutely struggled with. It was a nightmare. I did this like a bunch of times, trying to figure out how to do this perfectly. I actually tried to like paint the hearts and the diamonds and everything at that size, and it was probably not the right approach. So I used dots for the symbols instead, and honestly, the effect really worked out. So at least I think it did. You tell me. So I just used this Cantabric blue for the card backs. Nothing crazy, really. Who's gonna be looking under there, honestly? I got enough models to paint. So I used this uniform gray by Army Painter for the base, just to get a nice base concrete color. You'll see that I paint the rim black here. I don't know why I did this so early, probably because I'm just a moron. Then I came in with Agrax Earthshade to get those details to kind of pop out a bit. Then I come back in with the uniform gray, mixing it with some white, and using that to just add some highlights to the base, just painting over the raised areas and making sure to try and keep those ridges that were shaded dark. Yep. So I wanted to just add a little more to his base, so I put a tiny drop of glue and a big crack in the middle of the base and plopped a little tuft of grass in there, popping through the concrete. Thought it looked nice. And then I come in with some more of that Fluor Acid Pink, and just across his magical spray I laid down a light coating of that pink. It allows a lot of the color underneath to come through, so it's just really nice for effects like this. And then I just did a kind of circular color along the ridge there, just to make it look like it's kind of laying some light down. And then I just took some white and black and did up his eyes, which I always hate to do, and then he's done. So what do you all think? Did this turn out okay? I had a lot of fun painting the cloak. It was an interesting little project for me. But I do just want to say thanks again for all of your support, for checking me out, leaving comments, liking, subscribing. It all means a lot to me. I'm just starting out here. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. So really, just from the bottom of my heart, thanks a lot. So as always, paint today for a better tomorrow, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.